TCI is brought to you by Spendthrift Farm Stallion Flat Out, one of the fastest and most accomplished horses ever from the AP Indy sire line. Look for his first 2-year-olds in 2017.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Triple Crown. Alongside Joel Cunningham, I'm John Siegel. Well, Joel, we only have one race to preview this weekend. It's the Sam Davis at Tampa Bay Downs. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but let's recap last weekend's races. Let's actually start on Friday. There was an allowance race, Battalion Runner. You said you thought that he may be Todd Pletcher's most talented colt. Tell me, what do you think after watching the race?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he was a very workmanlike win. You know, he certainly didn't run away by 10, but I think there was a good colt that was a runner-up in here, so I give him credit. I mean, they go slow early, they finish fast. You know, so to me, first time around 2 turns, I mean, it's clear that he's not mentally there yet when I'm talking about Battalion Runner here. You see him, you know, really trying to work to get by Beasley, but I think Beasley has a ton of talent, John. I mean, I think you're going to look back at Beasley a few months from now and say, okay, you know, this colt can really run here, and you see Battalion Runner finally being able to pull away. Watch, he swaps back over to the left lead there right on the finish line. So, again, mentally, you know, just watch him in the post parade. He's just not quite there yet. The ears go up here on the gallop out. I just think if you're talking about ability for Todd Pletcher, you see why he ran him an allowance race and didn't throw him to the Wolves you know, against Classic Empire and that group and the Holy Bull, because I think they know that his best days are ahead of him. I mean, he ran a 6 on the sheets here. Beasley ran a 8. 6 is pretty darn good right now this time of year for a up-and-coming horse that you know has the upside to get better. So I was impressed by the performance. The key is with him, the talent is there. Can he develop over the next couple months to be a Kentucky Derby horse? Or are we going to have to wait till this summer maybe in the Travers or Haskell to see it?
Yeah, well, let's jump now to the Withers, and let's talk about a horse who looks like he is developed right now. I guess the thing you'd be concerned about is he running too well right now, and that's Ella Reeb. He won the Withers, Joel, another dynamite performance.
Yeah, he's won 4 in a row. You know, had that sprint form, couple stakes in Maryland. You know, obviously we know what he did in the Jerome, just double-digit victory there in the slop. Basically was facing the same group back here in the Withers, except the addition of J-Boy's Echo. I, again, thought was a very good 2-year-old maiden winner, caught the eye at Keeneland. You know, and I thought J-Boy's Echo actually ran well against him. Ella Reeb, you know, was able to get that tactical advantage, use the speed to his advantage on that inner track. And again, very impressively, I mean, it might have even been his best performance with Ella Reeb here in the Wither Stakes. But like you said, we don't want to see you empty out this time of year. We want you to we want to see you continue to get better, and he's going to have to prove it now as they go further. You know, again, running the Gotham, he'll face some better horses there inevitably because it'll be a greater race with more points on the line. And then even the Wood, a 100-point race, John, where he's going to have to stretch it out to a 1 1/8. I do think he has the stamina. I like speed as his weapon, but he's going to have to beat better horses. He's going to have to continue to carry that form and improve as he faces better horses in the next 2.
All right, well, let's go now to California. There was another 10 points on the line in the Robert Lewis. You know, this race only had 5 horses in there, Joel. Nothing in there that we were like, hey, these are world beaters. Yeah. But I will say, the son of Uncle Mo, he looked good winning the race.
He did look good. I mean, great connections here. The Mosses, David and Gordo bought this colt for $300,000. A big physical, good-looking son of Royal Mo, so you know, or excuse me, Uncle Mo. So you know the upside and the pedigree's there. The key with him too is can he put it together, you know, fast enough for the Triple Crown, because I think the talent's there. Let's look at the race replay now of the Bob Lewis. You see, we thought he'd have that tactical edge, right? Yeah. Breaking from the rail, he has some speed. He's enjoyed getting around 2 turns. You see him here starting to pull away. Really nice way of going. Starting to pull away from IRAP, who tried to stalk him here with the blinkers. IRAP can't keep up with him, but IRAP's still a maiden, John. Yeah. Sheer Flattery's come running here, you know, the 5-horse. He also, you know, just impressively broke his maiden, got in a little trouble here, but this was not a great race. You know, Royal Mo, there's a lot to like in terms of his potential down the road, but when we see it now, we already know that the best colts in California leading up to the Triple Crown at this moment, based on talent, what they've shown, are American Anthem, Gormley, the stablemate of Royal Mo, and obviously Mastery for Bob Baffert. Can Royal Mo in his next start, when he's going to have to face better, like Ella Reeb, can he take that step forward? We'll see.
All right, let's go now to the Holy Bull. This was the marquee race of the weekend. We had our TCI top 10, number 1 in the TCI top 10, Classic Empire in here. And Joel, let me tell you, I think everybody knows, they've seen the race at this point. Yeah. What I was most concerned about was watching him go up to the gate, and actually before he even ran his race, he was already spent. This horse was... He wasn't just washed out, Joel. He was soaking wet going into the gate. I mean, there was no way he was going to run well by the time they put him in that gate.
They said he just had a bad day from the start of the day to the end of it. I mean, they said he didn't ship over well from his base at Palm Meadows, didn't take the shipping well, which concerns me a little bit because, I mean, I know here's a colt that's had some mental issues, early in his career when he basically darted out of as soon as they broke the gates in the Hopeful and lost his rider in there. So we know that they've been battling some mental development with the colt. They put blinkers on him. He showed more speed and more professionalism. You like the way he ran at Keeneland, put himself in the race, and you certainly had to like the way he ran at Santa Anita. I mean, to ship there amongst all the hoopla, face the top field, put himself in the race at Santa Anita, which you have to do out of the gate. That was what won him the race over, not this time, that tactical speed that day. Here he breaks flat-footed. I mean, you mentioned the post-parade. He's a nervous wreck. I mean, I'm watching him on the Gulfstream feed on the internet, John, and he's in the paddock and he's a nervous wreck. He just did not have a good day.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Is there something going on with the colt? You don't like to see a horse of his profile take a regression. The good thing for him this time of year is it's still February. He's going to have 2 more races to get it right. But look, Mark Cassidy last year, a lot of people had high hopes with Aeroforce, and he really disappointed. Now, it turned out he had a physical ailment, but while there's still time to rebound with Classic Empire, it has to concern you to see a champion turn in that type of performance, particularly the way he handled the entire day, has to concern you going forward. He can still turn it around, but for me, it's hard to have him that #1 spot now.
Well, let's go to the race replay, and we want to look at Irish Warcry. This is a horse you thought could run well in here. You said last week, look out for this colt. You thought he could be good.
Well, I loved his 2-year-old form. It was in Maryland, but, he got a 7 on the sheets breaking his main. Everybody talked about the 15-hole being wide and winning. That was sprinting. Now he stretches out here, and you see he's got a nice stride on him, John. I mean, a good-looking son of Curlin. I mean, he's a good-looking colt. Certainly Grand Motions, he's won the Derby with the Animal Kingdom. There's a lot to like with him, but that was about as easy of a 2-turn debut as you're going to get. I mean, we knew he was training well coming up, and Grand Motion had the confidence to put him in a race like this, but almost 24-1, almost 48 flat for the half mile on the lead in the rail at Gulfstream with Classic Empire is the only threat stalking him, who's obviously not on his A game that day. To me, he had it all his way. And you still have to be impressed with the way he ran. I mean, he got a 4 on the sheets. That's a dynamite performance this time of year. That's a Cairo Prince-like performance in the Holy Bull. That's Mo Heyman territory. I mean, these are good colts this time of year that have won this race. Was it too big of a performance? Can he do it next time against a better group and a different type of pace scenario? That's what I want to know with Irish Warcry. But certainly as a son of Curlin, we know what impact Curlin's had on the Classics last few years. I mean, Palace Malice, Exaggerator, we've seen that, right?
Yep.
Right on Curlin even. I think that there's a lot of upside potential here, even though on the female side of his family, it's a lot of sprint influences. He showed 2 turns isn't a problem. How far will he go? We will see. Will he be able to rate in different pace scenarios and finish against better horses and do what he did the other day? Still to be seen, but you had to be impressed with the performance.
I'll tell you what I want to know. I want to know, what does your TCI top 10 look like after your #1? Boom. I mean, it was a bomb.
Oh, man,
this
it was
weekend.
bad. Yeah, we don't like these years where we start out already a week in and we're dropping our #1 horse, John. That's typically not how you're going to see us start. But we've made our evaluations on a lot of these colts. So for me, Classic Empire, the key is where do you put him? The fact that it's February and I still love his profile and they have time to rebound, I'm not going to knock him out of the top 5. I think a fair place to put him for me is in that 4 spot because I still like his profile. American Anthem, basically everybody else just moves up 1. Bob Baffert, he has to be grinning ear to ear after seeing that performance because nobody has their horses. If it's a good horse they can bring into the Derby, nobody's had a better track record than Bob in any big-time race. I've got to have his 2 colts in the top 3, so American Anthem, who's the lesser profile of the 2, he defaults in that top spot for me. He's going to have to show me something in the San Felipe. McCraken runs this week in the Sam Davis. We'll talk about that. Battalion Runner, I'm comfortable keeping him in the 5 spot right now. Everybody kind of stays the same, and I'm willing to drop off looking at Lee and Practical Joke from the list. I kind of had them on as, their spots could always be taken by somebody else. They were 9 and 10, but until they run this year, I wasn't all that sold on those colts. I'm willing to put the 1-2 finishers in the Holy Bull Stakes in that 9 and 10 spot, and I'm going to give 5 through 8 a chance to run again and show they don't belong there before I'm willing to put these new shooters above them, because even though I was impressed, John, with that Holy Bull performance, I'm going to give my talent evaluation based on the colts and the upside. I'm going to give them a shot. And I'm going to make Irish Warcry prove it to me again before he gets higher than 9 for me.
Yeah, the only question I had there, and I mean, we got to talk about the Sam Davis. The only question would be Battalion Runner in at number 5. It didn't sound like you loved his performance in the allowance, but to have him in at number 5, Irish Warcry in at number 9.
We'll compare the 2 performances, which were a day apart. You know, it was very workmanlike for Battalion Runner, and he got a 6 on the sheets. I think there's a ton of upside there. Irish War Cry, much easier trip, got a 4 on the sheet, so he ran faster, but how much more upside is there? I think he basically ran his race. I mean, he was maybe not all out there, particularly the final 50 yards, but I think there's more upside with Battalion Runner. So again, we will see if he can mentally put it together. We know Irish War Cry, he's got that killer instinct right now. He showed it to us Saturday. I don't think we've seen that from Battalion Runner yet. So that's a very interesting thing. Will we now see those two face each other in the Fountain of Youth? And then I think we'll get more answers there.
All right, the other thing we're going to see is the number 2 horse, McCraken, in action this weekend in the Sam Davis.
Yeah.
You know, this is at Tampa Bay Downs. Joel, that track is super quirky. We say it every single year. The viewers are probably tired of hearing us say that word, but it really is. It plays strange.
Proves
It'll be
to us
interesting.
every year.
It'll be interesting to see how he runs this weekend.
It absolutely will, and I trust Ian Wilkes. I mean, he's had experience at that track. He started Street Sense at that track, you know, before he won the Kentucky Derby. This horse, very similar to Street Sense, is a closer, has that affinity for Churchill Downs, has that pedigree and upside. You look at the stamina in the female family to certainly be a classic type horse. So McCraken, no question, he's a top 3 contender on the Derby Trail right now. So what's interesting to me is, you know, everybody says, oh, it's just a Sam Davis this weekend. Usually when you say that, you're seeing second string type colts, you know, maybe trying to find their way into the Derby Trail. Not this year. This is an important race now, especially with Classic Empire running as poorly as he did. I think now, once him going to the wayside a little bit, opens up this division even more for a horse like McCraken, a late comer as a 2-year-old, to really affirm himself as a top Derby contender. He has a chance to do that this weekend in his 3-year-old debut. Now, he's a closer. Every closer somewhere in their career is going to be pace dependent. Todd Pletcher scratched out fact-finding from the Holy Bull, is going to run in here instead. I think fact-finding should handle 2 turns, and he has a ton of tactical speed. So if they go slow early and fact-finding finds himself on the lead, be interested to see how far he can take them around there. And if McCraken, who's a better horse than fact-finding in my opinion, under that pace scenario, can he take that step up off the layoff and run down an in-form colt in the stretch? And we'll see what No Dozing does as well. I mean, here's a colt that had form last year and projects to get better. He's a deep closer. He's a runner-up in the Remsen to Motown. He's another colt here you see in this race. This is Classic Empire here. This is the Breeders' Futurity. He was able to collar him at the top of the stretch. Obviously, Classic Empire pulled away, but I think there's some upside with the son of Union Rags. We'll see if No Dozing and his closing style, if you want to compare his performance down the lane with maybe McCraken's as they're both trying to finish, I think you'll get a better idea of whether or not No Dozing has made that upgrade in terms of his level from 2 to 3.
All right, well, thank you, Joel, and thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back next week. We'll recap the Sam Davis, and we'll see what happens to the TCI Top 10.